Hello everyone out there in YouTube land, welcome back to Diego Knows. I of course am Diego, and today we're going to continue to talk about High Fidelity. That's right, High Fidelity, that wonderful movie from 2000, okay, that guy's chick flick as I call it, okay, a wonderful, incredible movie, I loved it, which starring John Cusack was in it, Jack Black, this was like the movie that made Jack Black famous. Catherine Zeta-Jones was in it, Tim Robbins, Lisa Bonet, there's a lot of big names were in this movie. It's a great movie, okay? Now, what I do here on my channel here, what I'm doing right now, this particular subcategory of my channel, usually what I review is I review female-led TV shows like Sex and the City, okay? And I got another one I'm going to review as well, okay? And the new ones as well, okay? And also I review chick flicks, okay? But what I do that's different from all the other YouTube channels is I give you a straight man's point of view, which means I'm going to talk to you, okay, the way a guy would talk to you, okay? I'm going to tell you all the shit that guys did not tell you. Okay, I got nothing to gain by lying to you. So I'm gonna tell you the honest God truth from a straight man's point of view about relationships, about these chick flicks, okay, and about how this shit works together, okay? Now, this section is a little bit different. This subcategory, I call it chick flicks for guys. Now, the difference is that in this subcategory, what I do is I take basically a standard chick flick. This is a romance movie, but it's from the guy's point of view, okay? It's not a chick flick with a guy playing the girl, okay? That's usually what you get whenever they decide to make the guy the main character. No, this is actually a guy dealing with romantic issues, dealing with dating, but it's from a guy's point of view, and he still acts like a guy. He still makes decisions like a guy. Okay, that's the biggest difference, okay, and that's why I approve of this. So I call it a chick flick for guys, because if guys are dealing with relationships, okay, this is pretty much a really good example about how we deal with relationships. How do we deal with attraction? How do we deal with girlfriends? How do we deal with our feelings for them? How do we deal with heartbreak? How do we deal with rejection? How do we deal with dating overall? Okay, this movie answers those questions, or gives you an example of a guy trying to understand all that stuff about himself and about women in general, okay? A lot of the stuff that we're afraid of, a lot of stuff that we really want are explained in this movie. So ladies, if you have not seen this movie, you need to watch it, okay? You need to watch it, okay? If you want to know what guys think about girlfriends, about relationships, this movie will give it to you, okay? Don't watch fucking Sex and the City. Don't watch that fucking bullshit, okay? They ain't gonna tell you the fucking truth. They're just gonna tell you what you fucking want to hear to make yourself feel better about yourself. No, don't do that shit, okay? Even I know better. I know better than to watch Sex and the City to figure out how women are, okay? Bull fucking shit. Look at how women are. That's how they are, okay? Not some fucking TV show. And don't learn about how to fucking be a guy from watching chick flicks, okay? They're not gonna give you they're gonna give you, it's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. This shit does not work in real life, okay? It's just a fucking power fantasy for women, okay? So if you want to fill that role, you're not gonna fucking fill that role, okay? So get it. It's better off just to be who you are, and that be good enough. You'd be surprised, okay, how many girls come up to you when you're just yourself, Just be your fucking self, okay? Be the cool guy that you already know you are. All right, and don't worry about fucking being the guy that walks in the room that all the girls go towards. Okay, you're not fucking Harry Styles. You're not Brad Pitt. You're not fucking Hugh Hefner. Okay, this shit ain't gonna happen to you. All right. But anyway, so moving right along. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna review this movie, and I'm gonna break down every single scene, and I'm gonna give you my opinions on it. Okay, what I think is really going on here. One of the reasons I love this movie so much, besides the fact that it's John Cusack, who I love, I used to love, I don't love him anymore. Okay, and the fact that this movie was filmed in my neighborhood in Chicago. I lived in this neighborhood. Okay, when I saw this movie for the first time, I actually lived in that neighborhood. So that's really cool. I know that record store. I know where the real record store is. Okay, I know all the places in this movie. Okay, I'm from Chicago, just like John Cusack. I'm actually more from Chicago because John Cusack was born in the suburbs of Evanston, as we called it, because it's got a high Jewish population. We call it Evanston, okay? That's a suburb. I'm actually from the city. I was born in Chicago, okay? That's how Chicago I am, all right? It's in my blood. But anyway, so he lives in Wicker Park, Bucktown, which is my neighborhood, and that's where this movie takes place. Also, he talks to you in the first person, okay? This movie is based on a book by Nick Hornsby, which I also read, okay? And that book is also in the first person, so the movie's in the first person. So every once in a while, he's going to break the fourth wall and talk to you and let you know what he's thinking. And I thought that's very, very good touch, very intimate that way. It's kind of like you're there along with him. Okay, you're like a friend that's going with him during his life, watching the things that happen to him. And I thought that was very good, the way they did that. Okay, so where we left off last time here, oh yeah, one more thing, disclaimer. Okay, listen, I'm going to tell you the truth, okay, from a straight man's point of view, and I'm not going to censor myself. So if you're easily offended, get the fuck out of here right now, okay? I will not censor myself for you, okay? I'm going to tell the honest God truth, I got nothing to gain by lying to you, okay? So if you cannot handle that, if you're a snowflake, if you're easily offended, get the fuck out of here right now, okay? I will not censor myself, okay? I'm going to give you a big dose of fucking truth, straight up, baby, with no lube. No lube. Can you handle it? You cannot handle it. Of course you can't handle it. But anyway, let's move along. Okay, so where we left off last time in my review, we were introduced to one of his girlfriends. It was girlfriend number 4. Yeah, Girlfriend number 4, and what the fuck was her name? Sarah Kendrew. Okay, now Sarah Kendrew was basically what this movie's about is he's listing his top 5 worst breakups. These are the girls that really fucked him over, that really broke his heart. Okay, in the last video I did, we were up to number 4. Okay, that's Sarah Kendrew. Now basically she was a rebound girl. Okay, she wasn't very attractive. I mean, she wasn't ugly, but she wasn't super attractive either. She was played by Lily Taylor. You've probably seen her before. She was in Say Anything. She was in the first Conjuring movie. She's done a lot of stuff. She was in all sorts of movies, okay? But anyway, so she plays this girl who's heartbroken. Her boyfriend Michael dumped her, so she feels like shit about herself. And meanwhile, Rob, John Cusack's character, okay, he also got dumped by Charlie. She cheated on him, and then she fucking dumped him. And so he's dealing with that heartbreak, okay? So they're both fucking hating the opposite sex, so they decide they're just gonna fuck each other. And they're gonna fucking be alone together, okay? So that's what they do. It's a relationship of convenience, okay? I've been there myself. I already told that story in the last video. Yes, guys tend to do this. Women do this more than men do. Like if a woman gets dumped by a guy and she did not see it coming at all, she'll fucking get a rebound boyfriend real quick. Whoever those guys that were her friends that asked her out, but she rejected them because she had a boyfriend or whatever, now she's gonna fuck them. Or because he's not her type. Well, now she needs her self-esteem boosted. She needs to feel, you know, like she matters now, okay? She's gonna fuck him, okay? That's what you women do, and you fucking know you do that, okay? Guys were a little bit different. If a guy is really in love with a girl and he gets fucking broken up with, like I did, I already told that story in the last video. You get broken up the way I did not see it coming at all. Was not cheating on her, nothing like that. Went for one of the girls, and all of a sudden I get fucking dumped. Okay, usually guys will tend to fucking not date at all for a while until they get over it. Okay, until they get over it. Now that's the average guy. It depends on who the guy. If the guy's like a fucking musician or something, of course he's gonna be fucking another girl later on that night. I mean, me myself, I was fucking another girl within less than a week after my girl dumped me. Okay, but that's because that was my coping way. Okay, that was my coping way. Okay, it was like I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to be alone with myself and my thoughts, so I wanted somebody else there. Okay, so I got with a girl who was attractive. I talked about her in another video when I was doing a Sex and City video about how she was the kind of girl that was kind of like a street girl. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that she was like very blue collared, you know? She was a bartender at a local bar, okay? Whereas my ex-girlfriend was a concierge at a fucking 4-star hotel. Well, this girl was a bartender at a neighborhood bar, okay? So she was more street smart, like that, okay? And I'm kind of a mix between both, okay? So she had a completely different personality, okay? So I got with her as a rebound over the girl that broke my heart, okay? But I knew this would never go anywhere. Our personalities were too different. I mean, the sex was good. She had some big ass titties. All that kind of stuff was great, okay? She looked like Barbara Eden, but with big tits, okay? But she was a Chicago girl. She was like the Bulge, the Bears. She was like one of those girls, okay? Whereas my ex-girlfriend, the one that broke my heart, was not like that, okay? I mean, she was from Chicago too. She's from Bridgeport. That's another neighborhood in Chicago, but that's where the White Sox are. But she was more like I said, more sophisticated. Like I said, she was a concierge. She knew about fine dining. She knew about, you know, restaurants. She knew about culture, about art, things like that, okay? You know, all the ritzy stuff in Chicago. She knew a lot about that stuff, okay? She knew where all the 5-star hotels were. She knew where all the 5-star restaurants were. She knew the people that owned those places. Like, she was that type of a woman, okay? Whereas this rebound girl was not, okay? Well, basically, Robert gets with this girl, gets with Sarah, okay, just to fucking feel better about himself. They're both lonely, they're both depressed, they both had the opposite sex, so they just fuck each other. It's a relationship of convenience, and then one day, he's there at the breakfast table, and she comes up to him, and she tells him, hey, I met somebody else, and she's all happy about it. He's like, what? How did this happen? Who is he? He's like, oh, I just met somebody else. And she dumps him, okay? Now he's pissed off. He thought basically that she was in a bad place in her life, which she was, okay? She was depressed, she was heartbroken, and so was he. She recovered from it faster than he did, which is usually how it goes, unfortunately. Okay, unless you're like an alpha male. Okay, but if you're not, and most guys are not, let's face it, they're not. Okay, then that pain is going to last you a lot longer. All right. So yeah, so he gets dumped, and he's mad at her for dumping him. He doesn't understand why. I thought you were pathetic like me. You know, well, it turns out she recovered faster, and now she doesn't need him anymore. She's got another guy. We don't know who it is, but she found another guy that makes her happy. And now she doesn't need this guy anymore. She doesn't need the fucking Band-Aid anymore. So I'm gonna take the Band-Aid off, okay? Now, he still needs the Band-Aid, so he's pissed off and upset. And he cannot understand why he got dumped, Okay, and he says that to the camera when he's telling us the story. He's rearranging his record collection because that's what he wants to do. He's got he's got thousands of records in his house. He has them all in a certain order, and now he's going to take them all apart and rearrange them all. Okay, so his floor is completely covered with records in plastic bags because he's a collector. Okay, the way he treats his record, that's the way I treat my comic books. All right, I have spent many, many hours rearranging my comic book collection. Okay, just like he's doing with his record collection. Okay, so him and Rob Gordon and I are very, very similar in that sense. That's another reason I like the movie so much. Okay. So he cannot understand why he got dumped. And all of a sudden, he gets visited by Dick. Dick is one of his employees. He's this skinny little beta male guy with a very soft-spoken voice. He's bald, okay, and he just shows up there to check on Rob. Rob told him earlier that his girlfriend broke up with him, and that's why he was acting moody all day, okay. And he asked him, "Do you want to talk about it?" And Rob's like, "No," which is true. You got to remember, ladies, guys, we don't, whenever you watch like a chick flick or something, okay, and a girl gets her feelings hurt, what's the first thing she does? She talks to somebody about it. She talks to her girlfriend about it. She talks to her mom about it. She talks to some woman, okay, usually some fucking bitch who's horny, telling her, "Hey, listen, let's get you laid, okay, and you'll get over this fucking loser. I always told you he was a loser," and blah, blah, that kind of thing, okay. We've all seen it. That's every fucking TV show, every fucking gynocentric movie, rom-com, whatever, okay. That's the same. We see the lyrics of every fucking gynocentric fucking love song, all right? That's what happens. Guys, we are not like that, okay? And when my heart was broken, the first thing I did was not fucking talk to my best friend and tell him what had happened and how I was feeling. We don't do that, okay? And the reason we don't do that is we're not raised to do that, okay? It's a sign of weakness, okay? There's a sense of us, of most men have this sense, not today anymore because I'm from a different generation, but there is a sense that you keep your emotions to yourself. The world doesn't want to fucking see you crying, okay? Women don't like watching grown men cry. Okay, there better be a good fucking reason. Your mom had better have died or some shit. You have to have a really good reason to start crying. Women do not want to be around guys that cry, okay? Men don't want to be around guys that cry either, okay? It's a sign of weakness. It's acceptable for a woman to cry, okay? But it's not acceptable for a man to cry. And it's not acceptable to ourselves as well. So we don't cry unless there's nobody around and we can't help it. We were not going to cry. We're not going to fucking talk and forever, endlessly about how this girl hurt your feelings. Guys, we don't necessarily, we will do it, okay? But if a guy is talking to me about his problems, he is at the end of his rope, okay? He has tried to contain this, contain this depression, this anxiety, and he can't. He's got to tell somebody. Absolutely, that's a healthy thing to do. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm saying that's not our first choice. Our first choice is try to contain it on our own, to man up and just fucking deal with it by ourselves. If it becomes too much for us, then we start asking for help. Then we start talking to other people. But our first instinct is not to go run to somebody and talk about it. That's not our first thing. That's correct. The way he's dealing with it, being all melancholy and all moody, and their Dick asks him, "Do you want to talk about it?" He's like, "No, I don't want to talk about it." That's realistic. That is the way a guy would do. Okay, Dick knows that this guy's heart is broken. He knew his girlfriend, but the fact that he doesn't want to talk about it means that he doesn't want to project that, because if he starts talking about it, the feelings are going to come out. He's going to start losing his composure in front of his employees and his friends, okay? And he doesn't want to do that. Guys, we do not want to do that, ladies. That's why we internalize it. We learn how to cope with it without having to fucking let it all out. That's why you don't see us crying all the fucking time about things that fucking hurt us. It better be a really good reason, okay? And we better have it better be so overwhelming that we cannot handle it on our own before we break down emotionally like that in front of a woman, much less in front of another guy, okay? It's just not gonna happen, all right? Well, he has not reached that point yet. Okay, he's still trying to contain it. He's still trying to contain his depression, his fear, his anxiety, his uncertainty, his low self. He's trying to contain it all behind a facade. So he's still got enough strength to keep the wall up for right now, okay? Because that's typically what we do. We don't just fucking run to somebody and tell them what's bothering us, okay? So that part is correct, okay? So he doesn't understand how he got dumped. Dick shows up there. He invites him out. He's like, "Hey, listen, we're going to go to this place called the Lounge Acts, for some live music, And well, he says with a soft, he's like, and we just want to know if you wanted to come with us, because, what you told me earlier today, I thought maybe it might make you feel better, if you come with us." He's like, "Oh, well, I got to, honestly, Dick, I'm kind of rearranging my records right now." He's like, "Oh, they're going to have this singer over there. Her name is Marie DeSalle. She's a very, very talented singer from the neighborhood. She's really, really good, and she's pretty too. She's kind of a cross between, she's very Sheryl Crow-ish and like post-Partridge Family, but pre-LA Law, Susan Day. She's like an equal mix between both of them, but black." He's like, "Oh, okay, of course." He's like, anyway, she's really good, and and he goes like, "Oh, but this record collection that you've got going on here, how are you categorizing it?" He's like, Well, I'm recategorizing it. He's like, well, let's see here. It's not chronological and it's not alphabetical. He's like, no, it's not. It's autobiographical. Okay, so basically he took all his fucking records and he's rearranging the order based on his life, based on when he first saw that record and what that song meant to him. So he started off when he was a kid all the way to fucking right now. That's just way too much work for me. Fuck that noise, but he's got to do this. This is his way of coping with his heartbreak, his rejection. Is he doesn't want to be by himself and listen to sad, but well, he does actually want to be by himself, listen to that, but he wants to be doing something. That way he doesn't sit there and fucking contemplate suicide. All right? And I know I kind of said that in an offhand remark, but yeah, this is how a guy like Rob Gordon, absolutely. And I understand Rob Gordon because I used to fucking be Rob Gordon. Okay, all this fucking melodrama that he's doing here, the screaming out the window, the beating up on himself, the fucking pacing around and yelling at himself and fucking being like, the part where he's like holding his hands and when he's doing that shit, I did that stuff. And it's not just because I went to art school, okay? It's not. It's because I share those same personality traits, okay? That's another reason I love this movie so much. I see a lot of myself in this guy. You replace the records with the comic books, and that's fucking me right there. I've made all these mistakes. All these shit that he's doing, I've done it myself. That's why I'm telling you, this movie's fucking honest. This movie's fucking honest. It's really telling you what it's like for us out there. Ladies, it's not fucking easy for us either. Don't think just because we're bigger and stronger means that it's fucking easy for us. It's not. We have to deal with the same fucking shit you do, okay? But we're programmed to not deal with it the same way you do, okay? It's okay for you to do that. It's not okay for us. You got to understand that, okay? It's part of our dignity that we want to keep, okay? We want to keep our dignity. We want to keep our self-respect, okay? And crying to somebody about how much pain we're in is not going to fucking help us. Maybe in the long run it would, okay? In the short term it might, okay? But we don't want to be the kind of person that has to do that every time the fucking shit hits the fan. You see what I mean? All right. So anyways, he basically rejects Dick's very generous offer for him and Jack Black's character Barry to go to the bar and watch this live singer. Okay, and I think maybe Dick was kind of hoping that, maybe Rob would meet this girl and maybe they would click together, which is something a good friend would do. He knows that Rob's not seen anybody else. Okay, so maybe he's like, hey, you can watch the singer. She's really pretty. She just looks just like, Sheryl Crow and Susan Day from Partridge Family, but, black. In the book, she was white, by the way. Yeah. But in this movie, Marita Saleh is played by Lisa Bonet, whose daughter, Zoe Kravitz, yeah, Lenny Kravitz's daughter too, she actually plays John Cusack's character. Yeah, don't even fucking get me started on that, okay? In the new version. Yeah, and the show that lasted for one fucking season, the High Fidelity TV show from 2 years ago that lasted one season. Yeah, Zoe Kravitz Lisa Bonet's daughter plays fucking John Cusack's character in that one. Yeah, and don't even get me started. I ain't even gonna go there. All right, anyway, then we get a phone call. Okay, we get a phone call. Dick leaves because Rob rejected him. Said I ain't gonna go to the club to see the live music. He gets a phone call from his mom, who's played by, I think her name's Margaret Travolta. It's John Travolta's sister. Yeah. John Travolta's sister plays Rob Gordon's mom. What's her name here? Travolta. Yeah, Margaret Travolta. Okay. So she calls him and he asks her, hey, Mom, and she says like, oh, how are you doing? How's the record store? By the way, you are so lucky, son, that your girlfriend Laura is so successful, as a lawyer. Without her, your father and I wouldn't get any sleep at night. And Rob's like, so obviously she doesn't know that they broke up. And Rob's like, Laura left me, Mom. She's gone. She's gone. She ain't coming back. And Laura, and he's like, and in fact, she's like, well, have you talked to her mother? He's like, yeah, well, her mom left a message today. Okay, so her mom doesn't even know that she doesn't live here anymore. Okay? Now Rob's mom starts crying. And Rob's like, I'm all right, Mom, if that's what you're crying about. She's like, that's not what's upsetting me. Oh, well, it fucking should be, Mom. And so now he's lost his shit. Okay, obviously he does not have a good relationship with his mom. Okay, the fact that he said fucking in front of his mom, it's not good. It's kind of, yeah, it's, let's say it's A little too close to home, if you know what I mean. Okay, so obviously he does not have a good relationship with his mom. Now, in this movie, they don't show him talk to his dad, but I have the DVD with the bonus features of the scenes that were cut out, and there is a scene where Rob talks to his dad. His dad is played by Harold Ramis from Ghostbusters, okay? It's a very short scene, but it's very funny. It's very funny as fuck. So obviously, what I took from watching that scene was that he is more, he's closer to his dad than he is to his mom. His mom has probably, you know, been very unsupportive of him, very critical of him growing up. Okay, I know what that's like too. Okay, so that I would surmise that, you know, he's closer to his dad, and therefore he doesn't really want to trust his mom, and he doesn't expect his mom to really give a shit about him. Okay, he's a grown man now. He realizes his mom only gives a shit to a point, and then she stops giving a shit about him. Okay, so he's not expecting anything from her. He's not expecting any sort of love or nurturing from her. He never gets it from her, and it frustrates him that, you know, she's still not giving it to him. Okay, here he is hurt. The reason he didn't tell his mom what happened is because he's not close to his mom. Okay, he doesn't run to his mom with his heartache problems or with his depression or with the things that are bothering him in life. He does not run to his mom. He probably runs to his dad. Based on the bonus scene that I saw, yeah, more than likely he runs to his dad for that shit. He does not run to his mom, which unfortunately sets a precedent. You see kind of the pattern that's being formed here, okay, with his problems that he has with women that he dates, okay? It's kind of mirrors the problem he has with his mom. So yes, I'm gonna be the first one to admit it, absolutely. I think probably a lot of the problems that I had growing up, okay, a lot of problems I had with women was because of my bad relationship with my mom. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my mom to death, okay? I mean, I was with her at her bedside when she passed away. I was right there, okay? I love my mom, but my mom and I were never very close. Maybe you could make the argument that we were too similar. She was a very stubborn woman. I'm a very stubborn man. Maybe that's the reason we couldn't fucking compromise, okay? But you know, she was just the way that she is, and I'm the way that I am, and I'm not gonna change for her, and she was not gonna change for me, so what the fuck, you know? We just agree to disagree, okay? So we could never really form that close mother and son attachment. We could never do that. So whenever I hear people talk about like, oh yeah, my mom is my number one girl in my life, you know, my mom is everything to me. I love my mom so much, you know. I don't understand that. I love my mom completely, okay, but we did not get along. We did not really see through the same eyes, okay. We were too different. Her and I were way too different. We had just different personalities, or maybe we're too similar. Like I said, she's very stubborn. I'm stubborn. So we know, it's like, it's like opposites attract, and we were fucking. You can't have the same charge. Same charges repel each other, and I think that's what it was. I inherited her stubbornness, and we just were not going to compromise. She felt she was right about everything. I felt I was right about everything. Okay, and we weren't going to budge for each other. Which it's sad. It's sad. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I hate my mom or anything like that. We actually made up. We were actually very close at the end. And we said all the things that were important that we needed to say to each other before she died. So all that stuff is good. I'm happy with how it ended, okay? Because it didn't end with us being bitter towards each other, nothing like that, okay? My mom knew very much that I loved her a lot before she passed away, okay? But I can understand, because Rob is not close to his mom, that he's not very good at dealing with women. He expects women to hurt him because his mom hurt him growing up. Okay, she didn't give a shit about him growing up. So of course he thinks, he's in the back of his mind, okay, he's already got that planted, that maybe, every girl that I get close to, every woman a female that I love is gonna fucking hurt me too, just because my mom did. How the hell could they fucking love me? My mom didn't even fucking love me, so how the fuck could they ever love me? Okay, I gotta do something to prove to them that I'm love worthy. Okay, you see what I mean? And because he's got these standards, he's got these phantom standards that he has to reach, he can't really be himself. Okay, he'll never reach those standards. Okay, so yeah, so of course, no wonder he's got this disposition that women are automatically gonna hurt him. It's a sad place to think, but it starts off with his mom. I totally agree with that. For those of you who don't know, there's this famous actor from the 30s and 40s. His name was Errol Flynn. Okay, he was like the Brad Pitt of the 1930s and 40s. #1 box office star in Hollywood. He did mostly action movies, pirate movies. He was Robin Hood in the 1930s. That was one of his most famous roles. Okay, and he was a big time womanizer, big time all that stuff. Okay, he fucked a lot of girls. A lot of movie stars, and then he wrote a book about it, okay, before he died. But that guy, I read his autobiography. It's the best book I ever read in my life. Like Rob Gordon said, his favorite book of all time was Cash by Johnny Cash. Okay, the autobiography of Johnny Cash. Cash on Cash by Johnny Cash. Okay, well, my favorite book of all time is My Wicked, Wicked Ways by Errol Flynn. That's his autobiography, okay? Now, I know he's an asshole, okay? But I think one of the reasons he was a womanizer, if you read between the lines in that book, one of the reasons he was a womanizer, okay, was because he had a horrible relationship with his mom. His mom treated him like shit. His mom cheated on his dad all the fucking time when he was a little boy. His mom took him on dates with other guys when his dad was out of town, okay? So he already knew, and very beginning, a very young age, okay, that women aren't all as nice as they're all, cracked out, made out to be. Okay, he learned that at a very young age because he had a terrible relationship with his mom. Okay, so I think that's kind of what happened to Rob. Okay, because he's not close to his mom. His mom's always criticizing him. He expects all women will criticize him, which they will. Let's face it, but that shouldn't let you stop you from being who you want to be. As long as you're happy, that just sucks if they're not. As long as you're not hurting anybody, then they have no right to criticize you. And if they do, get the fuck out of your life. Find a girl that does want you. Okay, there's no short supply of women out there. Okay, anyway, that's another fucking lie from Chic-Flicks. There's only one fucking girl in the world. There's not. There's not, okay? They don't want you to know that, but there's not. All right, anyway, moving right along. Okay, so she's pissed off. She considers Rob a disappointment because his girlfriend left him, okay? And he, of course, is not close to his mom. And she's like, well, what are you going to do now? He's like, I'm going to fucking drink a bottle of wine. I'm going to watch TV. I'm going to go to bed. Then tomorrow I'm going to go to work. And then what are you going to do? You know why she left you. You know why this keeps happening to you all the time? He's like, I knew this was going to happen. And he tells her, he's like, look, Mom, okay, someday, okay, I'll just meet another girl. I'll meet a nice girl, and we'll have kids, and everything will be worked out, all right? She said, well, you know why she left you. He's like, she does not because of marriage, Mom. Okay, Laura was not the marrying type of woman. She didn't want to get married. She's not that type of girl, okay? That kind of shit doesn't happen anymore. Well, I don't know what happens now. Yeah. He's like, all I know is you meet someone, they move in, and then she leaves. And then you meet someone, they move in, and then she leaves. He's like, shut up, Mom. Jesus fucking Christ. God damn it. Some cruel shit. Yeah, so that should tell you everything right there about his relationship with his mom. Okay, it's not very good. It's not very good. All right. So anyway, Rob, the next thing we have is Rob. He's walking down Lincoln Avenue. Okay, on Lincoln Drive, sorry, in Chicago. He's in Lincoln Park. Okay, that's on the corner of Fullerton, Halsted, and Lincoln. All right, that's in Lincoln Park. He decides to go to this club, this Lounge Acts club, to go meet his friends, Barry and Dick, and go watch the live singing. Okay, he walks in front of the Biograph Theater. Okay, and he's talking to us during this time. He's breaking the fourth wall, and he tells us, they're right there in the Biograph Theater, okay? And that's where John Dillinger was murdered. Now, I mean, you might have seen that movie, the one with Johnny Depp. I forgot the name of it. I think it was called Wanted or something. But it was Johnny Depp played John Dillinger in a movie, okay? And it was about how, Melvin Purvis, the FBI agent, he was hot on the trail of John Dillinger. John Dillinger was the most prolific bank robber of the 1930s, all right? He'd escaped from prison. He'd done all sorts of stuff. He'd killed people, too. Okay, so the FBI were hot on his tail, okay? And J. Edgar Hoover said, you better catch this guy. So Melvin Purvis set up a trap for John Dillinger. He managed to get in touch with John Dillinger's girlfriend, and she tipped them off for a reward, of course. She tipped off, hey, my boyfriend and I, we're going to go to the Biograph Theater to go see this one movie at 7 o'clock. We'll be walking out of there, blah, blah, blah. So they set up a sting operation. They were waiting for John Dillinger to come out of there, okay, in front of him. So he was at the Biograph Theater. He saw some movie with Clark Gable. I forgot the name of it. And then when we walked out of the theater, his girlfriend had mysteriously deserted him. So he walks outside by himself. There's all the FBI agents, okay? Now, they just killed him. Okay, they basically, all of them just shot at him at the same time. He died right there. He was shot to death right there in front of the Biograph Theater, okay? And, of course, Rob Gordon tells us this. He's like, yeah, you know what? He was killed right here, right where I'm standing, right here, okay? Because he's at the Biograph Theater. I've been there, too. It's a nice place. Okay, it's not as big as I thought it would be, but anyway, yeah, that's the north side. Okay, I mean, I lived in the north side. That's a little bit further north and a little bit further east than where I lived. I was on North Avenue, Damon, and Milwaukee, and this is on Lincoln, Halsted, and Lincoln, Halsted, and Fullerton. Okay, which is a little bit further north and a little bit more to the fucking east. If you're from Chicago, you know exactly where this is. All right, so he tells us, yeah, Dillinger was shot here, and you know who gave him up? You know who gave him up? His fucking girlfriend. He just wanted to go to the movies, which is true. But you can understand the bitterness in his voice. He's not in a good place. Okay, he has a lot of resentment towards women. Like I said, it comes from his mom. And so Rob goes to the club, the Lounge Acts, and he hears a woman. Before he walks in the door, he hears a woman singing "Baby, I Love Your Ways," which is a Peter Frampton song. Okay, but he hears it, and he's like, "Is this Peter fucking Frampton. Anyway, he walks in there, and there she is. There's Lisa Bonet. Okay, she's singing on stage, with her dreadlocks. She's a very pretty girl. I remember her from the Cosby Show. Okay, she's a very pretty girl. Because they made the Cosby reference earlier with the Cosby sweaters. Well, yeah, she was actually on that show, and then she had her own show. When she got pregnant, she had her own show. When she got pregnant with Zoe Kravitz, they fired her from the Cosby Show, and she had her own. Well, actually, no, she got a spinoff. She went to a show called A Different World. They gave her her own show, and then she got pregnant. And they fired her from that show because she got pregnant, and they just kept the show going without her, even though she was supposed to be the main character. That was with Jasmine Guy. Okay, they kept that show going after she quit, after she got fired. Again, she had a baby, Zoe Kravitz. Okay, who later on plays Rob Gordon in the High Fidelity TV show from 2 years ago. Okay, and it sucks. Anyway. That's why I didn't see it. Okay, so Rob goes to the club. Okay, he sees Barry and Dick there, and they're all trained. I mean, they're just fucking captivated looking at Lisa Bonet. She is beautiful. She's a very beautiful girl. She's singing "Baby, I Love Your Way," but she's not singing it the way Peter Frampton sang it. Okay, she's singing it with a lot more soul, more rhythm and blues. Okay, I mean, Peter Frampton didn't sing it that way. He sang it with a guitar and in a microphone. Okay, she's singing it just like, waving around, "Baby, I love you." Okay, I can't do it like she can. Okay, I'm nowhere near as talented as she is. Okay, but he's transfixed with her. She's a very beautiful girl, very striping. And he's just like, wow, she's very talented. Okay, and these guys start fantasizing. Barry says, while he's staring at her, well, Rob goes up to them and tells them, hey, I used to hate this song, but now I kind of like it. And they're like, yeah. And Jack Black's character, Barry, says, like, I want to date a musician. And then Rob says, I want to live with a musician. She could write songs at home and ask me what I think about him. Of course. Hey, I want to date a fucking movie star, okay? We can live together and she can tell me about what movies she's making and I can criticize them. Or even a TV actor. I'd love to live with a TV actor. She can tell me what's going on in her TV show, and then I can give her critiques on the episodes, point out what worked and what didn't work. Of course. He's like, yeah, she could write songs with me, at home, and I could criticize them, and then she could put our little personal in-jokes in the lyrics, that kind of thing, So he's fantasizing while he's looking at fucking Lisa Bonet. Okay, and like I said, she does do a really good R&B rendition of "Baby, I Love Your Way" by Peter Frampton. Okay, so anyway, after that, they go over there. She's selling her CDs there. So they go over there and they all buy some. They all buy a CD of hers. And Rob doesn't say anything to her. He looks very intimidated by her. Like he doesn't want to say anything. He's like embarrassed. But of course, Barry, Jack Black, is a fucking talker. He's talking like crazy. And so is Dick, even though he's like a beta male, quiet person. He's talking to. They're basically trying to get her to come by the store, Championship Vinyl. They're telling her where it is on the corner of Milwaukee and Owner. It's called Championship Vinyl. We work there. Okay. We run that store. We've got all sorts of music there. We got jazz, disco, country, everything. You should really come by, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, I'll think about it, whatever. And then as they're walking away from her booth there, Rob tells Jack Black, so Barry's like, hey, why'd you tell her about the store for? He's like, oh, I didn't realize that was classified information. I mean, I know we don't have any customers at the store, right now, but I thought that was a bad thing. He walks away. Not a business move. And he walks away, and he's got a point. He's got a point there. Okay. So that's going on. Okay, and then finally, Rob goes home. He plays Marie DeSalle's CD. Okay, and while he's listening to it, he checks his voice message. He gets a voice message from a girl named Liz. Okay, Liz is actually Laura, his ex-girlfriend, his best friend. Okay, now Liz is played by Joan Cusack. We don't see her; we just hear her voice right now, but I recognize her voice. It's Liz. It's his real life. John Cusack's real life sister. She says, hey, I heard what happened. I just want to make sure you're okay, I just want to check up on you, I'm your friend too, and I'm not taking sides yet. That's it, okay? I'm going to raise the bullshit flag right here. Guys already know this, but ladies, this never fucking happens. And it never fucking happens, okay? Whenever a girlfriend breaks up, okay, her best friend stops talking to the boyfriend, okay? Absolutely. I've never fucking seen it differently. Not in my life, not in anyone else's life, okay? The girlfriend, unless, there's one exception, okay? If you are actually fucking your girlfriend's best friend, that's the exception to the rule, okay? But other than that, no. When you break, even if your girlfriend was the one that fucked you over, okay, her best friend's still gonna take her side over yours, Okay, that's just the way it is. Okay, so this scene here is not realistic. So I would raise the bullshit flag right now, but I'm gonna take it back, the bullshit flag, because later on you'll see that what I said is absolutely correct. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop my review right now, but I'll be back shortly to continue my review of High Fidelity. I thank you very much for watching as long as you have, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Bye.